Hi, this is Phil, and I'm here to tell you all about the Capes and Lunatics Patreon. Get early access to all of our interviews, including the monthly Chichester chats with writer and comic book legend DG Chichester, new episodes of classic Capes and Lunatics shows, including The Quantum Zone, This, That, or the Third, and many, many more specials, all completely uncensored. Access starts for $3 a month, full video when you pledge $5 a month. Check out the link in our show notes or go to patreon.com/capesandlunatics. Hope to see you there. Run, Ezra, run! All right, kids, welcome back to another episode of the Capes and Lunatics. That's right, we've been talking to you, telling you it's coming. This is the Flash review. All right.
Yeah.
Anyway, I am Phil. Joining me, as always, she who the negative speed force flows through it.
Oh, definitely. It's a little tougher, y'all.
And again,
hallelujah, the DCEU is dead.
Yay. Although that is technically, is it?
We'll get into that because
Yeah.
theories.
Aquaman is, I don't know.
Shh, Phil, don't think about it. It's okay. DCEU is dead and it can't hurt us.
DCEU, don't think about it too hard. And yes, we are joined by, Superman's #1 fan from the Krypton Report, Mr. Tyler Patrick.
Hey, everybody.
All right. I believe word has gotten around, and I'll touch on this real briefly because we're going to get into this next weekend. But yes, for those of you who haven't heard, our dear friend and co-host, Mr. Charlie ESSER, did pass away on Friday. So,
yeah.
Yes, he would have been here. But yeah, again, we're going to hold that till next weekend because we're going to do a whole big episode all about Charlie ESSER.
But his wife's GoFundMe will be in the show notes. I'll give that to you in a little bit, Phil.
Yes, please. Thank you. Yeah,
because the team has been. She gave us our Zelle, but then she also started a GoFundMe because I was like, "Hey, man, it's Zelle. Everybody knows your personal banking information, so let's do a GoFundMe just to."
Okay, yeah, please give me the GoFundMe. I'll put that in the show notes of every show we do. I know Dave.
And
Finn,
I'm giving it to Rob too, so he can put it on the side.
Good, and I know I didn't even have to ask. Dave Finn was like, he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna promote the hell out of that on Signal of Doom." I'm like, good, yeah, please. Yeah. So
it's been a rough weekend.
Yeah, I know.
And then it's Father's Day weekend too, and I'm just I didn't even really want to do it. I was just, but we're just gonna get through it.
I know. Oh my God, Lilith, did you see though? Did you see what the anniversary this was with this weekend, Tyler? I think you posted it, and I saw it somewhere else.
I did. And
yesterday was the 40th anniversary of the premiere of Superman 3.
And the irony is, I was like, and I don't want to get too far into because I'll start crying, but for a long time, I had talked about us on it because he loves Superman 3, and it's actually my least favorite of the quadrilogy, and that came up in the discussion and stuff yesterday because I was like, because in the back of my mind, I knew it was coming up, and I was going to reach back out like, okay, we got to plan this because, that's all I'm going to say about that.
Yeah. But again, yes, yes, please, if you can contribute, the GoFundMe is going to be in the show notes of everything we do for a while here. So so please contribute. Next week we're going to talk all about Charlie ESSER, but now let's get to the real tragic news: the Flash movie. All right.
So it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be, but that bar was literally in hell.
That's
the fact that they just barely stepped over it.
That's exactly kind of what I said. I was like, it was better than I thought it was going to be. Because again, it's even taking Ezra's personal issues out of this, which I don't like.
Not by Barry Allen. Never will be. Never has been.
I don't like his. I didn't like their portrayal of Barry Allen anyway. So
Barry's a weird character because when you look at any live action Barry, it's either been way off, like the Justice League of America TV series pilot. Or it's been some weird it's been some weird amalgamation of like, it's Barry with some Wally traits or some Bart traits. It's like they can't figure out what Flash they want to do, but they're just like, we'll call him Barry and make him the likable one.
Yeah, but it's like, they weren't comic accurate either, but I had like no problem with John Wesley Shipp or Grant Gustin's Flash. Of Flash.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, like, it's weird because I think Grant
gets the closest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
and it's weird because we just spent 9 years with that character, and their CGI. I was like, how is the TV show CGI better than the movie? Like the person I was with said it literally felt like they were like watching like a rough cut of Justice League the animated series with the CGI.
I saw someone online that hit perfectly. They were like, "Why does this thing have PS2 graphics?"
That's generous.
I just wondered if there was anything where it's like you have to release it by a deadline or whatever with all the weird stuff that's going on in Warner's, and they're like, "We're not done with the graphics. Just do it anyway."
I mean, the last movies, none of the movies have had great CGI. That's just kind of a staple and a hallmark at this point.
I feel like that's just been the post-COVID big blockbuster thing. Period. Is like so many of any movie, like any like blockbuster movie that's had to have special effects, because there's been so many that were backed up. They're just like doing the best they can, then like get them out of here.
Is it just that we're rushing it and we don't want to spend the money on this, or
I think it's a combination of rushing things, over relying on CG,
overworking people,
and then you have there's only so many effects houses, and you have all these movies coming in, and they're not taking the time. They're just kind of like shorthanding as much as they can, instead of actually, they're not doing horrible work. I let some of the CG kind of just pass because I'm just like, whatever at this point, because CG's become so a part of every movie that it's just like, that's what it is,
Well, especially since we have so many superhero movies now.
Exactly. But if we could get a break, in cranking out blockbuster from every company, to allow the effects houses to actually take their time. Because like, okay, this past, was it last week? Yeah. 30th anniversary of Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
I rewatched Jurassic Park.
The original, that's the original. And then the new ones, like the Chris Pratt ones don't hold up. They don't hold up to it.
It's still like, to it. There are scenes in that movie where the CG is a little wonky. But for the most part, I can enjoy it, and I'm not taking out and not thinking about the CG.
But again, too, that was the early 90s, or
yeah.
But most of it's practical too, and they just they lost the art form of practical effects.
Yeah, is that the problem? Is like back in the day, they would do practical.
Like, even green screen they had down for Lindsay Lohan's Freaky Friday. Like Ezra's green screen, I can totally tell which one is actually like Ezra acting and which one is the stand-in. That's crazy. In 2023, that is crazy.
Yes, but I was gonna say it's like used to. You would shoot, and you would have real people in a real environment, then digitally drop your dinosaur in. Now we're shooting real people in a completely digital environment.
Yep.
And that's like, I look at two scenes as like, look at Grant, Dr. Grant pointing at the Brachiosaurus, real people in a real environment, fake dinosaur. Then you look at like the Chris Pratt standing in front of the volcano as the T-Rex roars. Everything there CG but him. And I mean, that's the problem is we've like you were saying, like we've gone to these limits of pushing everything's in a CG environment. And
we're not taking the time to do the work.
We're not taking the time to build the practical and then mix the CG in to where
we're questioning. Transformers.
That's what I was about to say. That's what we said last week. Yeah,
like the earlier movies, like the robots might have looked a little wonky, but they blended in with the environment. Where the robots look a little better, but you can totally tell they're superimposed into the environment.
You can tell someone's standing in front of the screen.
So it's kind of like, which one do you want? And I'm like, well, I prefer them to blend in with the environment. That's less immersion breaking for me personally.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like, it is what it is with movies at this point, especially superhero movies.
It's a lot of it goes to lighting too. Like you looked how they would try to light things darker and make it a little bit more secretive. Hey, what's up, Romello? In my opinion,
I think the only time when Flash looked good with the CGI was the first scene when he does the Speed Force, realizing he can travel back in time in the Flash movie.
I guess we can go in a little bit of order, but like, I love the comment, right? That he's like, why am I always cleaning up a bat mess?
No.
Yeah. That's like the only valid point in the whole damn movie. Especially in that particular universe. Yeah.
Well, it's water DC.
He's the problem.
Well, it's water DC. When you build everything on Batman, everything is going to end up being a bat mess.
Yeah. So I kind of like that. I was like, I don't know if that was like a little. I don't even think they're like in their head enough to know that that's meta commentary to the max.
Oh,
To the max.
Max. Oh my God! Did you see the thing Danielle shared on Facebook the other day? She shared something that said, "Okay, HBO Max went to Max. Your move, Peacock."
Yes, I was like, Danielle.
I've made jokes similar to that before, but that's good.
I know. I just said it sounded like a name now. It's
Well,
just like,
we don't call it Peacock in my house. We call it Tiny Dick. Get it? Peacock.
Oh yeah. Nice.
You know, Little Richard, whatever you want.
Wop bop a loobop. All right.
But the Max name still, like, it just, I don't feel like that's a selling point. Like HBO
And the
like,
color change, like purple made it stand out against the sea of all the other blue apps. Like, use your brain, bro.
Yeah, I purposely moved all my blue ones together just to make fun of it, that they're all sitting there together. Like Amazon, your logo is literally like a gold swoosh against like a back grayish look. But then when you go to your streamer, you're like blue. Like, why? Like, why not? Why not make it look a little different? Why is everything blue?
Oh my God! And just I've seen so many memes already and stuff of just Ezra putting a baby in a microwave.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will say, like, I understood the concept, but I still feel that was a little weird.
If you can't stand the heat, stay out of the kitchen.
Yeah, I'm like, and that's the one where I'm just kind of like, huh. Okay, I will say this: my favorite scene in the movie, honestly, like, I enjoyed the movie for the most part. I liked it. I didn't love it as much as I want to, but I did really like it, and we can dissect it. But I like the opening run scene when he leaves from the coffee shop and runs to Gotham. That's probably like my favorite part because it just looked really cool the way they shot it and had him just move.
Yeah, I mean,
like I said, I don't think, like, I was expecting it to be like a masterpiece the way all these shills were like, oh, it's so good, oh my God. But I think people needed to preface with that. Like, we thought this movie was going to be a disaster, and it barely stepped over the bar. Like, I feel like they need to say that because it's an okay movie, but like, it's not even the best. Like, it's easy to be the best DCU movie, but like, Shazam is like there now. It's like no competition for me.
I mean, well, if they only had 10 or 12 years to work on this thing.
9. I mean, it was announced.
Well, even before that, if you count the work that they did on Green Lantern before Green Lantern turned into it, yeah, we're talking like 12, 15 years. Literally, this movie's been trying to be made since the 80s. Technically, if you want to get really technical about it, it's been trying to be made since the 80s.
I just look at when they announced Ezra Miller as the Flash for Justice
and the Rocket
League
as Black Adam.
Yeah, the day after,
kind of go hand in hand, and everything kind of.
The day after Grant Gustin's show premiered, it was the day after they announced this, and here we are. Just a few weeks after the Flash series ends, the movie finally gets made and released.
Do you know how many directors this movie went through?
Hold on, are we counting directing teams or individuals? Because there was.
We could do the individuals, but I know there was
Because there was Lloyd and Miller, Seth Graham-Smith, Rick Famuyiwa, and then John Daly, John Daly and
Goldstein. Yeah.
Yep, and then Andy Muschietti.
Yeah.
So that's 5.
Yeah, and then, like, technically, if we want to get really technical about it, Mark Guggenheim, Andrew Kressberg, and the other guy.
Yeah.
Greg Berlanti. There we go.
What is this? The 3 tenors? The other guy?
Yeah, the other guy. I mean, Berlanti is actually the most successful out of all of them at this point, but
he is. And
I always just forget it because he screwed up Riverdale, so I try to block that out of my brain.
But I mean, it's crazy because I guess when I was watching the film, like when I was watching the credits, and it said it still had the story by credit for John Francis Daly.
Well, yeah, he gets the credit according to the union. So, like, even though they really destroyed that script, if you can go look at the revisions, like, it's floating out there, and it's kind of crazy. Like, it's maybe, well, because it is like a little bit more than half of his story. I think that's why he got the story credit. Him and John Goldstein.
Yep. Yeah, it was weird because then you got of course
they wanted to be the directors too, and then they walked away from it. And it was just like, oh my God, like that would have been kind of perfect for me personally. So
I liked them. Like, did you guys watch Dungeons and Dragons?
Yeah, Yeah, exactly.
And I enjoyed it. You know, I enjoyed that movie.
I mean, talk about a franchise that desperately needed like some modernization and like reshaping for like a more mainstream audience, not just like the nerds. Yeah, I thought they did a fantastic job with it. I don't know that it's gonna get a sequel, but it might get a TV show. So fingers crossed.
And then okay, so yeah, so we got the whole beginning scene with
Okay, why
Pat,
did they go out of their way? Like I heard that Henry Cavill did do some stuff on this, but like they literally went out of their way to erase him. So
yeah, so Deadline pushed an article late last night that talked about the 3 endings to the film. There was the original, and it talked about how it was under each regime. There was the Walter Hamada, the interim, and then now the James Gunn regime. The first one was Keaton and Sasha are there at the end. The second ending, which was under the transitional team, which DeLuca and someone else, was Sasha and Keaton were at the end, but then Cavill and Godot showed up. So they were all there at the end when he came out of the courtroom. And then the one that was shot in January is the one that got in theaters.
Spoilers, kids.
Which
not really spoilers. I mean, it's never going to make it on the DVD. Trust me, mark my words on that one.
Yeah, I mean, you know, because like I have like 2 of the behind the scene photos that had leaked was of that ending.
Yeah,
it was Keaton in the blue suit.
I saw it too. I was just like,
in the
that
first
was shot, so why waste it?
The first scene of Sasha that leaked was her on the wires floating, and it's in front of the courthouse. But I mean, I will admit though that I did clap and applaud and lose my crap over what I consider the only official real cameo in the Flash movie at the end of the movie.
The dog?
No. I don't want to know if we're spoiling everything right now.
Yeah, we always do spoilers.
Oh, dude,
time.
When George Clooney walked out of there, I was clapping, and that's my only true cameo in that movie.
Oh.
Because it's an actual actor.
I actually got really pissed. I actually slammed a little popcorn on the floor.
Wow!
So.
I loved it just because I'm like
no, it fits that universe. He's definitely in the hellscape. If it's George Clooney as Batman, he's in a hellscape and he's gonna need to get home. But we don't care anymore.
But like my thing was, I told my friend, I was like, the beauty of that scene is he never says, "I'm Bruce." He never says, "I'm Batman." He just kind of smiles and like looks at him awkwardly.
Like, I know.
No, he hated being Batman. We get it.
I was waiting for the joke for him to be like, open the door, like, oh no, I'm not Bruce, I'm Alfred, and him like open the door.
Right.
Yeah, I was waiting on that too, honestly.
So like, it's just kind of. But the other thing is that I feel like it's given the space. Like he didn't say who he was, and it's kind of a wink nod to all of us, you know. But the way they construct it at the end is, and I would have preferred if Supergirl was there and there was like this. Who's Bruce and it cuts to black or something. But the idea is now it's kind of this blended situation where we can pull or use anyone we want. So if we want to keep certain people, we've talked about how the universe is.
They're doing it the old CW method.
So like if they want Viola Davis to stay as Waller, well, that's how it works. In this universe, she still is Waller, even though everybody else has been replaced because that's how it is in this multiverse. They're just like, it's a pick and choose now.
All right. And I mean, spoilers. I mean, we got all those weird cameos at the end there.
The Nicolas Cage also made me like really like, I literally like got so mad about that. Well, actually not as mad as I did about the Christopher Reeves thing. Like
I was going to say, what about CGI?
Was really upset. I was really upset by that.
I love the Nicolas Cage. I just wish it had actually been him. Even though it's being reported that he went and filmed stuff. I'm like,
exactly. Like, I don't know what's going on over there.
I'm like, how did you film stuff? And I can tell like that's a CG. Like the whole thing's a CG. Like
it's worse than the Tom Welling and the Smallville CG. So yeah, it was bad.
it reminded me of, and someone posted it. It's from one of the last shots of Superman Returns where Brandon's flying. And it said Brandon Routh's cameo in Flash, and it's the CG model of Brandon before he takes off into space. I love that they gave tribute to Nicolas Cage as Superman, but I really think
I didn't understand why it wasn't CG. I was like, why is it CG?
I can understand the costume being CG. Like you get Nick in front of a green screen and he's wearing a mocap suit. and then you CG the costume, that I'm okay with. That makes
The
sense.
whole thing, like top to bottom. What are we doing? That's what I mean. Everything's so reliant. Because
that-
Nicolas Cage is down to do anything. He is in a do anything era. If you've seen Pig or Mandy, he is literally in his do anything era. So like, he
Yeah,
was
'cause
there. They shot
I know,
it. Don't know.
because
Maybe they effed up the footage. I don't know.
I know, because I was like, I know we don't access to Christopher Reeve anymore, but it's like Nicolas Cage, Helen Slater, they're still around. I'm like, why
Yeah.
are we getting them in, you know,
Well,
the aging
Helen
thing?
Slater, they have a bad. That's a little bit of a blood feud. If you know anything about what happened with Supergirl.
I mean, they said that she had filmed something. Like they actually had her in front, and I'm just like,
I heard that, but nobody ever leaked anything. So
And
I
that's-
don't believe it.
exactly. I'm
Because I know
like,
they have a blood feud at this point.
and that I think if anything in this movie made me the most upsetting. And I'll take a lot, but the thing that made me the most upset was the fact that there are all these cameos and stuff they're talking about, and it was these CGI creations of, I thought was a horrible way to do it.
Welcome to late stage capitalism, my friend.
You know, like just having just watched Titans and the scene of Beast Boy standing there, and the way they did Beast Boy in the red staring and seeing like into the other worlds was a much more effective way of showing the multiverse and doing cameos.
And how the hell does Titans get a Grant Gustin Flash cameo, but a Flash movie does not do a Grant Gustin Flash cameo?
Right.
Well, you
All it
can't
was-
have him next to the Superior Flash. Like he's too
Yeah,
fresh in everybody's
I know.
memory.
They could have
Because
just
it would have been better. You're doing two Flashes, right?
you could have pulled the footage from when they interacted if you wanted to from
For
Crisis.
Yeah.
You know, like they do some random weird Jay Garrick that no one knows who that is.
Yeah. I was like, that's not what who is that?
It's not even Teddy Sears either.
Yeah.
Like, so I'm just like, okay, like that. So that to me was the scene. And then they talked about things they cut. I'm like, why would you have to cut that? Because you didn't even like spend time. You could have just done a scene of the Flash looking up and like it panned, and it was like these like shots of just footage clips from other movies.
Yeah, literally. That's how they did Grant and Titans. They took a clip from the show.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's all it needed. And I would, if you wanted to do him interact with one person, like the way on Titans, Beast Boy interacted with Stargirl. Okay, it should have been Nick Cage as Superman, and I needed him
That
in
would
a
have made
costume,
the most sense.
and then he actually gives me a line delivery of something, like, and just that would have been the
I
best.
totally agree.
But other than that, like I said, I like the movie, but that's the part that made me mad because I had seen it done better on TV just a few months ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, all you need is like a room, and you're looking out, and you're seeing into the other universes, and it's just clips. You know, if you can't get the actors to actually interact, it's just clips, just to show you that this multiverse exists.
Oh,
The thing that pissed me off the most though is like I guess I didn't stay up to date, and I'm like, why the hell is this Ron Livingston and not Billy Crudup? Like,
Yeah.
Ron Livingston
I,
from
you know,
Office Space.
I was gonna say
Is
they
it,
call.
I'm supposed to care about a thief?
I had just
Okay.
watched, like, we had just finished school, and the last week for all the students, they were finishing World War II. So we were watching Band of Brothers.
Oh yeah.
So like I had just seen Ron Livingston in that, and before we went to see the movie, I was like, I loved the scene in Justice League Either cut of Billy Crudup and Ezra on the phones
Yeah.
talking to each other.
That's what I was just like. I thought that they were gonna keep him, and then they didn't. I just didn't keep up with the news. It was just so much. And I was just like, Ron Livingston.
I was like, I feel like we're gonna lose something because I thought Billy Crudup was so good,
Yeah.
and I think Ron Livingston did great. He wasn't in it that much. I think he did great, but there's just something a little bit more to Billy Crudup. 'Cause I still think of Ron Livingston as the dude from Office Space.
Yeah, exactly. I love him as the dude from Office Space, but it's just like I was just like, oh, okay.
Even like, you have Conjuring, the first one he's in and stuff. Like, I still think of him as the dude from Office Space.
or Burger from Sex in the City. It's just like it's one of those two for me. Or not? Is he? He's one of the love interests. I think it's Burger.
But oh god, and why did we
And
do
then
that?
what happened to Iris West part? It was so much bigger in all the other scripts. That also annoyed the hell out of me.
I'm glad she was there, though. I'll be honest. I'm glad she was there because I really did enjoy the little bit of time we did get with her. So I did appreciate that she was in the film. Because I, even for the little bit we got her, I was like, I'm really liking the characterization. And I'm just glad she was in it.
I
I would have
mean,
liked to have seen more, but yeah, I get it.
and
I
are
mean,
we
for all the time we had, jeez
Well-
Louise, that movie felt like it went on forever.
well, between her part and then we still didn't mention who killed the mother, so it's like, are we setting up the sequel?
They officially, there was a comment by
Well, yeah, he said
today that
Reverse Flash, yeah.
and I'm cool with that. Like I feel like if you were going to do a trilogy and this was your first entry,
But they should have cut that part or just made it more explicit because they know they're not getting any more movies.
Or at least
right?
or at least do something like they did on the TV show where it's like you didn't see him right away, but you saw like the flashing yellow and
You Tyler,
They
you
decided
Tyler
to do
Durden.
Savitar instead of Zoom or Reverse Flash. What the hell?
It's a stupid Savitar.
Damn time remnants. I thought it was Black Death or something, and I'm just like, no, it's Savitar.
No, you know what?
Great.
You know what? The minute I saw that thing punch him out of the Speed Force, I'm like, oh god, that's the other Barry.
Yeah, I mean, I had a feeling it was somehow connected to the other Barry from.
I was hoping
the
it wasn't
get-go.
going to be that obvious, but it was.
And I'm like, I was just like, why are we doing a second Barry? I'm like, is this so like, oh hey, you think this Barry's annoying? Oh well, yeah.
No, that's exactly. No, the director literally said that.
You know
They
what's
had to
funny though?
address it. It's like just because you lampshade it doesn't make it cool.
I found him annoying, but at the same time, I didn't care because working with 16, 17, and 18-year-olds all the time, I'm like, yep, that's them. Like you think you know, but then you spend like 8 hours a day with them.
That's
you're
some
like,
beeves, bro.
You're like,
That
oh, dude,
beeves.
I was using that yesterday just randomly. Like, I'm like, beeves, and James, my co-host, is like, do you mean that, man? Really? I'm like,
I don't know what it
totally.
means, but yeah, sure.
Yeah,
Right?
I was like, as far as I can tell, man, yeah. But and I think the younger Barry, I think, was extreme, but I think the characterizations to show you something is this is a Barry that's completely unburdened.
Yep.
He has he has no cares in
It's
the
the
world.
original Barry before before the origin change. I thought was maybe like the point of it, but like it's just not executed as well. But like when you think about it, you go, maybe that's what they had in mind, but they just didn't have time to actually flesh that out. So they're just using all this shorthand, expecting us real like comic book fans to know.
And I agree with that. And here's my question to you guys, though. They don't say it in the movie, but was young Barry still a criminal justice major?
Doesn't look like it.
It doesn't.
Wasn't working in the lab or anything.
I was waiting for him to say something about being like his major was undecided or something. Like, but yet he was still roommates with Patty and Desmond or Albert.
Yeah.
So it kind of makes you think that he is.
They might just go to the same college or whatever.
Right. Because that was my question.
He could be an econ major.
And I mean that was that was my biggest, thing was like,
didn't they kind of say that where it's like, yeah, he went into criminal justice because his mother was
exactly.
So, yeah.
That was the whole point was he went in to prove his father was innocent and to be like someone, and they tried to reinforce that in the earlier scene where he's like still working the case and he's talking about we need to re-examine this, and then we cut to who I guess is Director Singh. Don't know because they don't say who it is, but already presenting the press with the closed case, So they kind of, like you said, shorthand some things there. One observation, and I'm giving this complete credit to Mr. James Cole, because he said this to me today, because we haven't done our review yet. He's like, if you notice all that twitchy, like energy Ezra acting that he does, when he loses his powers, is gone. Because he's no longer energized. He's slow, and calm, and none of that hyper overthinking, like crazy twitchiness is there because he doesn't have the power anymore. And I was like, that's a good observation.
Mr.
Yeah.
James Cole.
But you know what was my favorite part though? Is the scene right after they do the powers where he has no power and he's just running around.
Yeah, and they make that meme noise of the empty gym.
He's just running like. It's so dumb, but it's so hilarious. Like I laugh because he's just like running around.
I'm slow, man.
I'm slow.
So slow. But okay, Flash is a menace because he goes around stealing people's food. Like he is a menace. I'm gonna be the J. Jonah Jameson and just call it out right here. He's a menace.
He stole Jamie Lannister's pizza. You
and
know,
the poor hot dog report. Come on, people gotta eat, man.
Oh my god! But you know what my favorite part of this movie was?
when it said directed by Andy Muschietti and you got to leave.
No.
Well, you couldn't leave after that either.
No, you know what?
There was an end credit scene that was
You
not
know
worth
what my
staying for.
You know what my favorite part of it was? Yeah.
You want to get nuts?
I'm Batman.
Mine was, you want to get nuts? Let's get nuts. I'm like, yes.
Anything with Keaton, I was like, yes.
Keaton literally carried this movie on his back. He really did.
I know. I was like, oh my god, Michael Keaton Batman breaking into a Russian facility. I'm like, yes. Why did I get?
I thought they were gonna do the Red Daughter thing too, and I'm just like, oh, is that no? Okay, we're not.
You know what my
that
favorite
interesting of a
Keaton
story.
moment was? Is when he's talking to him, and he's like cooking the sauce, and like his back's to it, and he goes. He like does one of those moves that only he does, like when he's acting like the kind of thing. And I was like, oh yeah, that's Michael for sure.
I thought this was the cousin dinner.
Yeah. All that stuff tracked
I
for
definitely
me.
don't think he was a criminal justice major. I'm just saying.
I
think he might have majored in underwater basket weaving because he was
I'm just saying,
a
like,
case.
All that young Barry stuff tracked for me just because of interaction I've had over the past 2 years working with teenagers. So I'm just like, yeah. Yep.
Can we? Is there a reason why they decided to make his mom Hispanic? Because Ezra Miller, as far as I can tell, they are not of any Latino or Hispanic descent at all. So that was really weird for me.
I think it was just Muschietti wanting to infuse, because he's Argentinian, if I'm correct, infuse more cultural and people of ethnicity.
Yeah, but it's kind of like weird when the actor does. Like, I could understand. Like, I wouldn't say, I don't think Ezra's mixed with any Latino or Spanish heritage. That is just really weird.
I mean, granted, yeah, it was a little kind of popping and jarring because she was not just like light Latino, like,
like a heavy accent. Yeah.
The heavy accent, the music and everything, like, and you don't see that in anything that Ezra portrays. So that kind of felt, yeah, like out of place.
I literally had to look it up leaving this. It bothered me.
Because the same thing is like when you look at the other actresses they wanted to test for Supergirl was Brazilian. The other one, they were both Latino-oriented actresses for Supergirl. And I'm just like,
maybe
okay.
That's just Andy's preference. I don't know.
Maybe. You know what I'm saying? That's
I see, and I thought, okay, I was like, okay, if we don't get a blonde Supergirl, maybe she is literally just the female version of Kal, right? Like maybe she's Jor-El's daughter, but it turns out no, she's literally that Supergirl. So I'm just like, okay.
And that was in my mind before, and I watched the dialogue, like the mouth and the dialogue closely, because I thought maybe at one point that's what it was, you know, but then they were like, nope, we're going to ADR and change it, but it looked like that's how it always was with her as Kara. Because I kind of was like, because I had a similar thought when you go back to...
She's got the dark hair. She does actually look she kind of resembles Henry Cavill, right? So it's kind of like, whereas Kara, they've never really gone out of their way in any other like iteration to make them like look even closely related. Probably because, he wants to bang her in a couple of universes.
Oh my.
Yeah.
The 50s were a hell of a time.
Don't touch Krypton.
But yeah, like, there's a lot of interesting choices, and I was just like, I'm trying to give the movie credit, and then I like look it up, and I'm like, no, not that.
Like we were saying, I would have liked them to, like, for lack of a better term, Tyler Durden Thawne. Just when like that like cut burnt blip where like I might have seen it, but like the person next to me didn't see it because it's such like one frame of him there, and just the tease, like if you saw it,
a whisper of it was me, Barry.
You know what I'm saying? Like if you saw it, you saw it. If you didn't, you didn't. And it's just like a yellow, like man in yellow. So there's not enough detail with red lightning. That's it.
Because there's nothing to even say mystery about it. It's, I mean,
it just literally looks like his dad stabbed her, whether it was an accident or not. Like, it looks like
or just some
nobody else was there.
Or just some random burglar broke in, and there's nothing.
I thought that was gonna be just a random burglar.
Well, I mean, that's what it was supposedly until, they reveal that it was Thawne in, Jeff Johnsy and stuff. Was the idea it was just a random burglar?
Oh yeah, because
And then it was Thawne revealed to Barry, it was me. So.
I mean, they could have went the Batman route, like they do sometimes, where it's like,
we don't know who
murdered his
parents. I thought we were going full Flashpoint, right? So I'm just like, oh, I guess not.
Yeah, I didn't expect full Flashpoint. It was kind of like Flashpoint in the means of I'm saving my mom, just like it was on the TV series.
Yeah,
Like,
I was just like, somebody's got to get it freaking right one of these days, right? No, it ain't gonna be this movie.
No, we would have went full Flashpoint. Remember, Lil, we would have got Jeffrey.
I wanted Negan.
We would have got Jeffrey Dean Morgan as Thomas
Exactly.
Wayne. Yes.
That would have. I mean, between him and Keaton, like that would have been the dream team, bro.
Oh yeah.
I'm just saying, maybe we'll get a crack at Flashpoint in another time, and we can still have Jeffrey Dean Morgan as Papa Wayne.
See,
That's
I
just
think
the dream.
See, once again, that's the kind of stuff. If I was filming this film, like I have it all mapped in my head. How I would have done my multiverse scene, just for fan service, much like John Krasinski as Reed Richards. Just for fan service, I would have had Jeffrey Dean Morgan in a bat suit,
holding a gun,
and pull and do like this. You see him with the cowl, and he peels it back. You know what I'm saying? So you get the clear face that it's him. I would have done that one because that's been such a big, fan service or, casting. And then, you have like your Nicolas Cage, the Never Was. And then, some other cameo type footage or whatever, to just pay tribute to the multiverse, but also to the fans and everything of just oh my gosh, did you catch this? Or did you realize what that was? Heck, I would have been like, get me, I don't know which one I would have picked. Crap. DJ Catrona. Throw him in a Superman suit.
I noticed they left out Dean Cain too, but it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. I'm not bitter. I'm just upset.
I would have paid tribute to like these people that people wanted and the never was. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, DJ Catrona, who was supposed to be Superman in Justice League Mortal, or Adam Brody, but they both were in Shazam.
Yeah,
so.
I was gonna say, they got their little redemption.
So no one would catch really Megan Gale as Wonder Woman and really understand what that is as much, I feel. And
yeah.
So, but
I like the Wonder Woman scene that we did get. Like she was basically holding DCEU together. She was like, "Sure, I'll show up in Shazam." Sure,
I was surprised. I was surprised because I didn't see that leak. I know when she showed up in Shazam 2, I saw that leak, but I didn't see that.
I had a suspicion because someone put that picture of Ben Affleck smiling, and there's like a little shoulder, and I was like, sliver, and I was like, damn it, is that?
When I said sex, I meant poetry.
But it was kind of cool because it was like the last wink interaction between those two because we knew this was Ben's last.
We love a Batman and Wonder Woman shipping situation. So
thanks, Bruce Timm.
Yes.
And Tyler, what did you think of Michael Shannon's return to Zod?
Even better than the first one, I think.
I love Michael Shannon. Like,
they didn't give him enough to do, but
they didn't give him enough to do.
The story was so packed.
It was cool that he was there. I really liked he was there. What I found interesting is they recreated the footage of the "You Are Not Alone" message.
Yeah.
Because in the original in Man of Steel, he has his face shield down that makes it even creepier. But in this, like it's up, so it's his face. I thought that was a weird choice, like why they couldn't use the same footage or whatever. But
I mean, it's an alternate universe, and two, I guess they're like, yeah, everyone knows it's Zod at this point. So,
so I love Michael Shannon because he's such an interesting actor because he's very good in everything he does. But like,
he loves to play a villain, though. He really does.
But
maybe not even a villain, but like just a foil to the protagonist.
Yeah,
he's good at it.
He doesn't like being part of these big franchises and stuff.
Yeah,
that's what I find interesting. But he likes the character he portrayed as Zod. So I was happy. I mean, I was happy to see him back.
I thought they were just going to reuse the footage. Quite honestly, I didn't know they were going to go that in depth. And I'm like, at least they're in the desert this time, and not the middle of the city. So bravo.
Yeah. Well, it picks up right at the scene because I watched Man of Steel for the 10th anniversary and don't get ready for this. Like you see the scene in Man of Steel where they turn over Clark. They kind of re-show us that where they're in the desert, and this time, the humans are attacking back. So they never really left the desert area. So they go back and, so yeah, it also is a much easier environment to cheaply CG. Like you have your actors in, a green screen room and they're actually touching sand or whatever for part of it. And then you just make blue sky.
If you can't tell, by the way, if you're on YouTube, I have Supergirl and Batman, but like Flash is in the middle. I'm sitting in the middle of it, so
yeah, because you're
make of that what you will.
Because you're the Flash.
Because I'm the Flash. Yeah. We are the Flash. Okay, I'm
Oh.
just gonna channel my inner Iris West from the TV show.
Okay, I will say I rewatched the scene where she first says that.
I've never had a problem with it.
It didn't bother
If
me.
Felicity was with Barry at the time and said that, the fans would have freaking ate it up. But because it was Iris, aka Candace Patton, that said it, people had a problem with it.
Well, I looked at it because I just rewatched season 3 and 4. And
R.I.P. your brain cells. I'm just kidding.
Oh, I was trying to pinpoint exactly where the Flash went off the rails. And my theory is season 3 starts to have a little extra melodrama that they avoided in the first 2, but season 4 is where they start to get campy and goofy. But
wait, which one is the season where they sing with duet in it? Is that 3
4.
or 4? Because that 4, yep, 4 is definitely when they went off the rails. Because that's when I literally stopped watching.
5 is I'm about to watch 5, and I think that's where
yeah.
I think that's where it's completely like
that's when it just doesn't make sense at all. That plot pissed me off.
But when she says it to Barry, like the "We are the Flash," I
It's
understood
a
it.
supportive thing, dude.
It was more of a "We are married, we are one, we are a husband-wife couple."
Mhm.
So you don't have to carry this burden alone. For her to say it to him, just meaning the two of them in that sense of like we're married, we're together, made sense. But I know she says it again later and everything, and it just kind of
leave her alone.
That's the writers being lazy. Just like this movie, it's a little lazy on the writing. Like, I don't know. Like, I think the thing that like I said, we spent 9 years with Grant, right? So we know the backstory. Like the first episode, literally every time, I'll admit it, makes me cry. I love that episode. It's so well done. Like you understand the stakes, you understand what his motivation is. It is tragic and heartbreaking for him, right? And he's basically living with the man that put his dad in jail. On top of that becomes his adopted dad. Like there's all these layers that the movie just does not have, and does not care to show you. They're like, oh, she calls him monkey. Okay, cool.
and he has
that's the other thing they never explained in this movie universe, right? Where did he go after his father got arrested?
yeah.
Was he just living on the street?
He's a foster kid. He's a street kid.
Like
doesn't seem like it because he doesn't have social skills, so that can't be it.
They don't explain like. I think part of the problem is we didn't get an origin Flash film. Mm-hmm. You know, we got this, which is that it's a solo movie, but at the same time, like I would have liked, like I really
He's already working with the Justice League. Like Alfred's got him on speed dial.
This could be a really cool sequel, because, he talks to young Barry like, well, the first suit was this, and, there was shorthand in Justice League about him. And I would have kind of liked an origin film, like, because like you said, like getting to know him a little bit more as a character instead of having to use the shorthand of, because little things like that, like where did he go? How did he grow up?
How did he afford college? Yeah, all those things.
So I'm just, we knew he was working like 5 jobs, because that's stated in Justice League. He's like, but I just kind of, I would have liked a little bit more about who Barry is and a little bit more of this Barry's life, and to see him more as Barry, like the short scene of him at the lab before, it's like him talking to Bruce, him talking to Iris, great. But, we see him mostly for who he is. That's
just the Snyderverse in general, though. With the exception of Batman, everybody, like, the shorthand for Batman is just Bruce at that point, because, that's just what it is. He makes no pretenses, like, basically Batman all the time. And that's everybody. Like, they even kind of cut Wonder Woman's, like, museum job out, and, like, she's just out there being a vigilante, too, all the time, That's just a Snyderverse thing, I think.
Because I like my characters, like being able to see them as, who they are, and it's like, it's almost like it's kind of like this movie is like if you watched Back to the Future 2 first and then tried to reverse engineer the first movie.
Yeah. Oh, and I love that it's Eric Schultz in their universe because he got
Eric Schultz. Yeah. Yeah.
I thought that was very fun. It was a very clever reference.
It was hilarious.
Michael J. Fox. You mean the guy from Footloose? No.
That was the funny part.
Kevin Bacon isn't in Footloose yet. I don't want to be in that universe.
That dialogue, because he's like, Kevin Bacon, the guy from the Maverick, the gay volleyball pilot people, they just changed every one of those 80s movies. The Eric Stoltz thing was funny. And like Jania kind of looked at me like I have a remembrance of what this is. And then I like explained it more to her and pulled up some footage and everything of him as Marty and what that was.
It wasn't the best. I can only imagine that wasn't even a trilogy.
Well, because there is the quick reference where he's like, I've seen all of them, and they kind of give a look like, what?
Yeah,
like like they don't expand upon it, but they do kind of glance at him like, what?
and were they like stoned? Like they were just throwing marshmallows and Nutella at each other? I'm just like, is this a fetish I don't know about? Or...
No, that's 18-year-olds.
Okay.
Like you think you know teenagers, right? I'm telling you. You think when you were a teenager,
not a clue.
then you go hang out with some now. You're like, you're either surprised that they're smart, or you're like, yeah, they as dumb as I thought they was. I'm just saying.
Yeah, the dolphin laugh. Yeah, it was a little irritating.
Yeah, I will say that.
Around the 5th, 6th time, yeah.
The first time was funny.
Young Barry was just like, and like it gives you an appreciation for how far like Barry has come as like a character in his own universe. He's not as annoying as he was in the first time he shows up,
Yeah.
In the Snyderverse. So there's that. But the suit, I just didn't like the suit. Like I like that they said like it helps him like with the kinetic energy buildup or whatever. But like it's not great.
It's weird
it's not
because
the armor, but still.
I like
great.
the suit in some shots. It's weird because I'm like, certain shots it looks really good, and then some shots it looks weird, and it looks a little thicker. It's odd. Like it's like I don't hate it. I like it.
I'm still waiting on a live action Flash costume that I like. I guess. I never liked any of Grant's. I'm gonna be honest.
I mean, closer, however you can get closer to the classic look is my favorite because the more yellow lines and stuff you put on it just looks too busy to me and just.
But at least in this they explain the yellow lines like when the energy he's activating, so then they shut down when he's not running. So I thought that was cool.
His running stance though, like they should have.
Okay, my thing with that, like I watched the video, it was like someone put a bunch of interviews with Ezra together, and it kind of cuts. He showed how he studied this. I want to say I could be wrong with the wrong discipline, so I do apologize. Like a wushu master who's supposed to be like the fastest person alive, his movements, and it was showing how he does poses like this, and it showed like him doing his martial arts and how he stands and moves. And Ezra at the time was talking about how that's the kind of poses and movements that he wanted to do, paying
as opposed
tribute.
to the classic running pose.
And I was like, okay. I was
that's
like, all right.
Interesting choice.
That's where my head was. Like it or not, like I at least understood where you're coming from and your logic behind it. Not that I agree.
The director liked it, so what do I know? I'm not getting paid to make it.
Exactly. I'm like, you know what? If you just said it just looked cool, I would be against it. I'd be like, whatever, dude. But you provide some sort of rational reason for it.
He's a good actor. I've liked all the other stuff he's ever been in. Perks of Being a Wallflower. We need to talk about Kevin. Those are two phenomenal, really great character-driven stories.
The first Fantastic Beasts. I like the first Fantastic Beasts. Not the third one. Second one, yeah. But the first one I thought he did very well in, or they did very well in.
Yeah. I said what I said. As a super Harry Potter fan, like I don't think that the Fantastic Beasts franchise needed to exist. Period. Like they did Newt so dirty. Like I only care about Newt. I don't care about all this other crap in the Wizarding. I just want the Fantastic Beasts.
I would have liked Fantastic Beasts to be a standalone.
Exactly.
And then
they could have let like the law the secrets of Dumbledore be its own thing.
The Grindelwald story. Yeah, it could have been its own Fantastic Beasts was like a one shot that Newt could have then came in and been like a pop-up support character in the Grindelwald Chronicles or whatever.
That's the only reason why it's like I don't like anybody but Eddie Redmayne in that movie for that particular reason. So but yeah, he's a good actor. I never said they weren't, but it just was an odd choice that I thought. It was like you're the Flash, you run. Can you do running poses?
Did I see this movie is not doing good at the box office? It opened.
Oh, it's not.
below Black Adam. I think I just saw something below. It's what is it? They're
Sayonara, Andy Machete!
they're estimating what 55 million or something
You
domestically.
know how much
for
money
this-
it took to make this?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And domestically, they're calling like 55
I
million
mean,
for
I'm
the
pretty
weekend.
sure the budget was like, well, just the budget. We're not even talking about the marketing budget. The marketing budget, I'm thinking, is at least 100 million. As many damn commercials as I saw everywhere I went.
I feel like they threw every marketing dollar they had. Like they took all the marketing budget from Shazam and
Yeah,
threw everything into the Flash to push
Yeah,
the
they
Keaton.
did.
And my thing is, do you guys feel as fans that they did way too many preview screenings?
way too many. I agree.
I think the CinemaCon was great, and then maybe do one screening, but to like basically take it on like a tour and do fan
Yeah,
screenings.
there's so many spoilers. So many spoilers, bro.
But the spoilers, but also just the fact that people were going as fans to see it, and then coming out, and a lot of them were not liking it. So you're losing money by people who would have went into it, and then you lifted the embargo really early.
Yeah.
Well, that's what they were saying
But
too.
it was a lot of shows pushing that this movie is so great. It's so good. You gotta see it. By the way, I have 17 emails to write to specific people.
Oh
You writing the
my!
comments?
To tell them like, hey man, you're a shill, and I'm gonna let everybody know. Every single comment of mine on their video from here on out is just gonna be shill.
Because they're saying it seems like it's been.
I
dropping
told you
all
they
weekend.
bought those reviews, Phil.
Yeah,
I told you.
they said it's been dropping on weekend because people who went early saw the movie and were like, "Yeah, you don't have to go see it." So it's been going
And it's
down.
also part of a dead universe. It's the same. The Aquaman is going to suffer the same fate.
I
think this movie was 200. The budget was 220 million before the marketing. So like, ooh.
But see, that's the problem, is they haven't really come out with the whole how their universe is going to work, and people watch movies now.
James
not
Gunn has
as-
basically said he doesn't want anything to do with what came before it. So
and that's the thing is like, but how are you going to do Waller and try to keep it on? But that's in their conversation.
it's just the little pocket Gunniverse.
Again,
That's gonna be just a pocket universe.
multiverse. It all.
My thing is nothing really matters until Superman Legacy.
Exactly.
Even
Even
if
Peacemaker season 2 and Waller are still remnants of the old, and that nothing will really matter until Superman Legacy comes out.
and I think we've sent the message. Even if they bring back this version of Barry Allen, it's not going to be Ezra Miller.
I mean,
Ezra's done.
at one
Well,
point,
I think that is what it is too. On top of that, a lot of people are still kind of turned off. Like they said, you shouldn't really let the movie release.
No, especially after they canceled Batwoman. After they tanked Batwoman. Batgirl. I'm sorry. Yes, Batgirl. After
With Brendan Fraser.
Exactly, it was already fully
Oscar
filmed.
winning.
Yes.
Thank you. Yes, put some respect on his name. All 90 kids love Brendan Fraser.
Yeah, we do.
It's our universal truth.
Because we said that when they announced that Batgirl wasn't coming out, we're like, that's not a good look. Canceling the movie with the woman of color lead, and then we're gonna let a criminal Ezra Miller, let his big budget movie go through.
Well, I think they had to because of Keaton. Like, I think there were definitely it had got pushed back so bad that because of COVID and because of the production delays with the CGI, I can't tell where the delay was in it, but it was, and so like it was literally poop or get off the pot, and they didn't like they're clearly already losing money on this, so it's like who knows how much Keaton got out of this? He probably is getting money off the back end for all we know.
That's my thing. They couldn't have tanked 2 Keaton films. They were putting so much in the fact that he was in this movie. And my thing is, even with everything going on, people today watch films, and if it's not, they don't watch them as just, oh, I'm going to see this movie and enjoy it. It's like they've been trained to, is it part of the universe? Oh, it's not, it doesn't count. Then I'm done with it. Just bring me the next reboot of this.
Yeah.
And they really messed up by coming out and saying, and basically by James Gunn announcing his slate and his all that.
Before this movie, like it could have, that all could have waited until after at least Aquaman. I mean, if not this movie, Aquaman, just to give those 2 movies a fighting chance. Well, even Shazam, by the time Shazam comes around, we all knew the writing was on the wall.
Right. And you still had 3 movies coming out. You should have waited. You should have been working on your stuff all behind the scenes doing your thing,
But
keeping
they
it
needed
secret.
something to put at that stupid DC fandom con or whatever. So
They didn't even have one. It was just James Gunn announcing
yeah, it
his
was just
slate.
something. I'm saying like they were. I heard they were gonna do it. And
He
then
could
they
have
just ran
announced-
out of time.
He could have announced Creature Commandos, talked about Waller, talked
And
about that he's
Peacemaker
working
2.
on stuff. He could have just been like, we're working
Where's
on
our
stuff.
Green Lantern that you've been promising?
And he could have talked about Green Lantern. That would have been a great one because we'd already kind of heard stuff and we knew that in some form, all that could have been what you kind of push forward. Let these movies come out. Let them do their thing. And then after Aquaman being like, okay, this is what we're doing. And we've already been working on this. And then when you announce it, you already announce it with cast and maybe even a couple production photos so that we're even more excited because you've been working on this and it's coming.
Well, he's no Kevin Feige. Not yet, anyway.
And
he says he's not trying to be, but like it was just kind of poor planning for me personally. I totally agree, and that would have been my plan as a former publicist. That's how I would have pitched it. Like, hey, man, you got these 3 other movies just dangling. Are you sure you want to do this right now?
And exactly, if it had been like you had one left, or something like that, different. But when you've had these 3 movies get pushed back, and now they're finally coming out, and then you basically say to people, they don't matter. We're going to reboot, and they're like, oh, okay. All right, and then you end up losing money.
At that point, just put it on Max.
And that's what people are saying. People are saying that for Blue Beetle and Aquaman, just throw it on Max.
Oh, I totally forgot about Blue Beetle too.
And with Blue Beetle, he came out and said that Blue Beetle is a character in his DC universe.
Oh yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I thought I
I heard that, but now I don't trust him.
Well, see, I just think it's because
he a little too early. Yeah, he realizes what's happening.
I think it's one of those he watched it and realized there's no tie to anything in it. And instead of wasting this character and wasting all this, we'll say that it's in our coming regime. Our regime starts really with Superman Legacy, but then we'll bring in Blue Beetle and it'll be in there. But it's a way of salvaging that movie so people will want to see it and it won't just feel like, oh yeah, we
yeah, and it's a young.
I totally forgot about Blue Beetle. Thank you for reminding me.
Yeah, August.
It's just too much going on with them.
Yeah.
No, it's too much going on at Warner Brothers / Discovery Bros. Like I can't.
I have a feeling that Blue Beetle will be a really fun, good movie, but I have a feeling that it won't do as well because it'll feel generic to a lot of people. Like we've been there, done that.
Like we've been waiting on Blue Beetle and Booster Gold forever at this point. So that's another thing too. It's just gonna be like,
and it's gonna be like, oh, because. From the trailer, I get like Spider-Man Homecoming S vibes from it. And, it
yeah, a little bit Iron Man. Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's like, okay, we're going to get this. And like I said, I think it's going to end up being a really good movie, but it's just not going to do well because it's going to be like.
Just the landscape, yeah.
Because it was made to go to streaming, but then they put more money in it and try to make it more. And we're going to put it theatrical. So I think it's going to fall in that, like where Batgirl was, where it's like, it's too good to be on streaming, but is it good enough to be in theaters? And I think that's what's going to happen to it.
And no offense, Blue Beetle's not the household name that a lot of these are. Because I know I was talking to someone at work who, always asked me about these movies, and he's like, "Oh, I've never heard of Blue Beetle before." There's a lot of people.
Well,
who
clearly you hang out with old people because all 90 kids know Blue Beetle.
No. This guy's like 30 years old, so you don't know who Blue Beetle is. So.
Oh, shame on his parents then. Shame on his parents.
Like we were talking about it today because like my kids are interested and that's we're going to go. But Jania had totally forgot that they tried to do that one episode with Blue Beetle in Smallville. So I'm like, yeah, we're definitely going to watch that and review that come August.
Yes. Tag me so I can remember. I actually like that episode.
It is a good episode. I like the episode.
The Booster Gold episode's really great. Yeah.
So, but yeah, I feel like Blue Beetle is going to get lost in the shuffle. I mean, there's not much going on in August, so it might do well.
No. There's no superhero stuff. I know. Yeah.
Wait, when are the Marvels coming out?
It's like November. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Why did I think? Oh, did it? Oh, yeah, because it got pushed back.
Because it was supposed to come out when Quantum Mania came out, then they switched them. Yeah.
So
fingers crossed. I mean, I want something good to happen for DC. Like I'm still rooting for DC, but like. I feel delusional rooting for them because at every chance they just slap me in the face with something, and I'm just like,
it's really a weird story of mismanagement from a studio. I mean, when you look at, just what I explained earlier about the 3 different endings, how it fell under within the post production of this film, 3 different regimes of a company that was, you think about it, you go back to 2017 when it was bought by AT&T, and then there was the reshuffling by them, then they sold it to Discovery, and then Discovery is like doing their thing. It just hasn't had a chance to like catch up with what the new company wants to do fast enough that hopefully in 2025 we'll see something, and we'll kind of go from there and see where it goes. But
I feel like the worst part of it though for Barry, from Barry's perspective, is like he gets to save his mother and then he still doesn't get to spend any damn time with her because the world's ending.
And I mean, that's
like, that is heartbreaking for me. Like, we go through all this work and then you can't even spend time with her.
I mean, that is the Flashpoint book too.
Yeah.
At least, so when I reread the book and then watched the animated film,
well, the
and at
animated
least
film doesn't count.
in the book, I like the animated film. It does.
They took a lot of liberties though.
They did a good job of condensing a lot of the universe side stories that aren't in the main book. But the one thing in the book that I liked was that Barry stops and sees his mom before he finishes going back. And, I like that in this film, we do get the scene where he goes back and he gets like that last moment with his mom.
And then that also gives him the idea to save his dad. So at least he has one of them.
Yeah. Which I thought was, what I liked about that was I liked the line where he's in the Bat Cave and he says 3 lives ruined over a can of tomatoes.
Yep. And
it shows like that something so small and insignificant can have repercussions and how things work out. And I thought that was, I thought it was really well done. And the way he tricks the system so that he can get his dad released. I was like, you know what? Good job there.
And also, since we're talking about Batcave scenes, I also like the talks of just like, how Bruce's parents definitely define him and why he becomes a hero. But if you go back to before Jeff Johns' retelling of the origin story, right? Barry was just a good guy, became a cop, got blasted by the chemicals, and he's a hero still. And so I kind of like, well, that doesn't necessarily apply to him, to Barry,
No,
because
it doesn't.
That's the sad thing about young Barry becoming, Savitar, basically. or just a really disgruntled time remnant, however you want to look at it.
Well, the thing is,
4 years.
Dark Flash wasn't a villain. That was the thing. Is like he wasn't the villain. He was just young Barry continually trying to save Kara and Keaton, and that's the thing. He was just stuck trying to save them. He didn't turn to a villain. The only thing was that he had just gotten warped to where he didn't want Barry to undo the saving of their mom. Like, he didn't do anything villainous, other than there at the end when he's trying to stop him.
He's like, I'll destroy the multiverse. It's fine. It'll be fine.
And at that point, it's just him coming undone from doing it for so long. But there's, and he I had to punch you to create me and all this. So I was like, okay, it's kind of like Savitar, but Savitar was laid up legit a villain because he was actually murdering Iris.
Yeah.
But Dark Flash was just caught in this loop of trying to save something that he couldn't do.
All right. I think I've just discovered a plot point in this, a plot hole in this movie.
A plot hole in a DCEU movie? Shut up, Philip.
No, well, again, it's like she didn't get murdered when the dad didn't go to the store for the can of tomatoes. So it's like, okay, so if Andy Machete is telling the truth and it was Reverse Flash, there's no other day she was going to be by herself ever. Or he just isn't going to stab both the parents and be like, yeah, good luck, Barry.
Improvise, yeah.
Yeah. No, that one moment. He had to pick that one moment. If that window was not there,
well, he might have OCD. We don't know.
I mean, it's one of those things where maybe not, but for this movie to work, that's what it had to be.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, because, I mean, they tried to retcon it on the TV show where Eobard was going back to actually kill young Barry, but then he was like, I'm going to kill your mom because you took yourself away.
Yeah.
So...
But that's like the TV show. He knew it was Eobard, so he went back and he, stopped it.
So, I mean, that's why I say, like, it's just enough that if you wanted to do a trilogy, which, whatever, probably won't happen, but, the the format of a trilogy is like the third film's supposed to connect back to the first film with something we didn't know. And you take similar elements from this film, and then the third film addresses actually who murdered her. And then Barry, it then realizes that was never supposed to be how it was in the first place, that Thawne had created a second timeline. So then he starts contemplating, how is that Thawne can manipulate time, but I can't. And it kind of has him going back to the same kind of conversations that he had dealt with in this first film about changing things, because now he realizes his whole life has been changed. It always was. What he thought was, say, the normal time never was the normal time. But
yeah. Now, and time travel is tricky, and like I said, it's a DCU movie, so it's never going to be the best way to explain. But I did like the spaghetti analogy. I did like that. I enjoyed that.
It was a lot better than just the Marvel just go with it. Time travel, branches of reality, new timelines, make multiverses. Just just go with it.
I just can't wait for all the Flash merchandise to be on sale.
I want that Funko Pop of the babies so bad.
Oh, you know what? I think I think I saw that in one of the stores. I forget which one. I might have to pick that up. Yeah.
Oh, I want McFarlane to reduce the price of the Batwing.
Good luck.
Good luck. I was going to say, if anything sells good from this movie, it's going to be Michael Keaton Batman merchandise.
I mean, they had the sale. It was like the McFarlane pack was $500. It was all the figures, the statues, the Batwing, and the Batmobile. And I'm just like, because like the Batwing itself is like a couple $100.
Yeah, it is.
It's massive.
That's what she said. Hell. Sorry. But I don't know. Like it was a pretty straightforward story. I was hoping it would have a little more twist and turn to it. But like I said, all the actual surprises kind of got ruined. A lot of so many trailers. So many trailers ruined so many of the moments. But I was like, hey, at least that actually happened in the movie. Looking at you, Marvel.
I was trying to think about that. Like if there's anything I saw in the trailers that wasn't in the film. And the one shot that I could think of was one of the earlier reveals where it's it was the shot, I think in the first teaser trailer, or back when it was the fandom trailer, where his head was turned and it was he was looking at something up, and it was in a red light room, and everyone's like, oh, that suit looks so weird. I don't remember seeing that in the film, but for the most part, everything I think I saw in the trailers was in the movie.
Yeah, I think they've all learned their lessons these days. It's
there was that lawsuit, it last year, that sued them for basically false advertising by showing us altered scenes and stuff in a trailer, than having
and it was intentionally altered. It's not like it was cut. They literally did that for the trailer.
Right. Yeah. It was a complete I think the most famous being Avengers Infinity War, where you see the Hulk running with them all. Yeah. And that's not even a scene that's in the movie in any shape or form.
Yeah, he's not in it. Yeah, he wasn't in that scene. Yeah, it was Banner. Yeah.
It wasn't even that scene's not even in the movie. Because when they're running, Captain America and Black Panther have already ran towards the forefront.
Oh, yeah.
But this is that big team moment of the whole team running together. So it was a complete scene fabricated just for the trailer.
Wait a minute. I just realized if Barry ran back to 2013 and he was 18 and that's 10 years ago, he's supposed to be
28, and Ezra Miller's 30. Yeah, I did. I was kind of doing the math too.
They've aged a little roughly. That's all I'm saying. That CGI pulling the face back, I'm like, that's like iron. That's like RDJ levels of face pulling going on there.
Because you gotta think because I was thinking about this 20. If he goes back 10 years, it's supposed to be 2013. September 2013 when Zod attacks. Then the events of BVS take place roughly a year and a half later, and that means Justice League is 2 years from that. It would have been 2015. So this is 5 years after Justice League. Because we do get one line of Iris saying, didn't I see you a couple of years ago? He's like, no, I haven't seen you since college. So it's kind of one of those okay,
5 years, and Darkseid's still trying to figure out if he wants to attack Earth.
He's like, it ain't worth it.
he's attacking the wrong Earths right now, like in
Exactly.
the New 52, where he's like just going to
Oh,
each Earth,
yeah.
killing them all
He
to get
just
ready
pops
for the
his
big
head and
battle.
he's like, "No, not worth it. No."
He's like,
not
not
worth
yet.
it."
Not yet. I'll be back. I don't know. I'm just saying, like, it's one of those like kind of fuddled like timeline things, because you're like, some time has passed, it's been years, but like, how many years between Justice League is this film? But it's got to be a couple years after it. So
Yeah. Like I said, I couldn't think too hard about it. I like the action. I just didn't like the conceptualization of the Speed Force. Like, and a matter of fact, as soon as other Barry's lightning was blue, I'm like, okay, I see you. I know where we're going.
Okay, South Park. Yeah, I know.
I'm just like, oh, bummer.
And-
Bummer, you ruined that for me, bud.
And once again, there wasn't one usable second of footage when he's in that Speed Force bowl of CGI around him, when he's like time traveling and stuff. When you see like the figures, that that CGI was horrible.
yeah, it didn't bother me.
He's traveling faster than the speed of light. What do you want from him, Philip? Everything's a blur when you move that fast, okay? Because you don't have the Speed Force. You can't slow it down to see
It might have been. It would have been better if it was a blur.
Lilith, no,
I'm just
she's the
trying to
Flash.
defend it.
She's in the shirt.
Exactly.
Like, she's in the frame. She's the Flash in the photo.
Speed Force, and not Speed Force is wrong.
I don't know, like,
Yeah, that's the
I get it, because the
Force.
CGI does look rough, but at the same time, I'm just like, it's the same kind of thing I say with the TV show. I'll give CGI stuff sometimes a pass if I feel like they tried, but all the movies are looking rough now.
Yeah.
If it was like this one popped and it was like just this film, I'd be
That's
like,
definitely
eh.
a trend.
But it's like all big budget movies, like we talked about, having these CGI issues, where I'm just like, I just let it go, because obviously there's something going on that they can't get it done right. So
I mean, I give the TV show a pass because that is a CW budget, but it's
But
like,
even then, most of that stuff is pretty solid, especially like going on
Yeah.
because they have the time to refine it. So that's what I'm just saying. Like, it was just like you had all this time as a movie, so on a movie budget.
exactly, yeah, like if the CW can do it at least as well, if not better, I mean, yeah, you really want to look at your big budget.
I did have somebody cry in my theater, though. I will say that, and I just literally wanted to go over there and slap the taste out of their mouth.
I think
Like, you're crying at the Flash movie.
I think the scene between him and his mom, where he's saying goodbye, is very strong. Where she's
still in my mouth.
like, it just depends on how much you've bought these characters. That scene can be. I did think it was a little interesting, though, how quickly it cuts from him leaving his mom to popping into his apartment.
Yeah.
I felt like, there should have been like
They're
the
like,
dramatic.
enough of CGI. We lost the budget.
Yeah, what I'm saying? Like, I feel like there would have been that scene of him running, and like, you stereotypical, like, he has the tears in his eyes and he's running and he's like angry because he knows what he has to do, and like we see it kind of reversing and going back.
They lost that. They did not have the budget for that.
Yeah, they were just like,
it all went to Keaton's salary, man.
So
also that Supergirl fight, it took a lot of the budget as well. So
we haven't even really talked about her that much, but
I didn't mind her. I thought she was gonna bug me, but I actually liked her.
I liked her too. I thought she was solid.
It's kind of funny that she's a very tiny lady. But she like, I bought her, like, her little she's an angry little princess, Those are the vibes.
The thing is, like, it's depending on how they move forward, there is an opening that they could bring her back. The idea is planted that if they, in essence, her pod could be lost in space, or the Russians do have her. Like, her
I
pod
want to do a Red Daughter so bad.
So, I mean, there is the possibility that if they wanted to, because I feel like in a lot of ways she got shortchanged the most, because you can definitely tell that she was brought in as some sort of setup, like we learned about the original
Supergirl,
ending and everything, and then I feel like she got shortchanged with just how it happened. So, because there was no like other Supergirl foil at the end of the movie, like. We got our third Batman in this movie, our third Bruce Wayne. So you have some sort of consciousness that Bruce is out there, but her, you're just like, what happened?
Batman, my favorite character.
I'm
The
contractually
chance is never zero.
I'm contractually obligated to play that.
I found it interesting though. Like, I enjoyed the action scenes. They carried it really well, but I feel like they were kind of like trying to ship Flash and Supergirl kind of because of the TV show too. I'm just gonna give all credit to the TV show. You can fight me if you want to, nerds.
Yeah, I mean, there was definitely like young Barry had a thing for her.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was definitely feeling
and that's kind
Super
of
Flash pairing.
That's kind of where I was looking to see if that was going to be used, of why he was so even more fixated on
saving her. Yeah.
Saving her, because you notice how he went after her, and then other Barry went after Batman. So I was kind of like, that's what was kind of twisting him. But it is interesting just to think back about this film that there really isn't a villain in your typical sense. It was just antagonists and events. Like, yes, Zod is a villain, but he's not the overarching villain of the entire thing. He
is always the villain because it robs us all.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that's kind of the point, especially when you're dealing with a character like the Flash. Time is the villain.
If anyone's a real villain, it's the guy working at the coffee shop at the beginning.
Oh yeah.
I hate when your normal like sandwich maker or your coffee person isn't there. Like, oh, it's annoying.
It's annoying when they're just like rude to you, and you're like, I gotta go, man.
Customer, I have money.
Because he can run how fast, and he has to stay at that. You know, he's still going to come back for that sandwich.
He needed that food
desperately. I mean, he's like trying to eat the burrito and save the baby. Clearly, I was like, was that a Snickers? I feel like it was a Snickers. What? Was it a Snickers?
It should have been a Snickers. Like, it should have been straight. I wouldn't even care if it was like product placement. Like, he pulls
the Pumas were product placement. I'm like, damn it! Now I can't wear Pumas anymore because those are like my current brand of shoes. The Pumas were definitely a product placement, and whatever car Bruce Wayne was driving.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm not. I can afford it.
Yeah, that's not. That, I don't even count that. That's not the average everyman product placement. Every man product placement is like drinks, food, you know, that kind of stuff. Yeah. A Gillette razor, okay.
Yeah. Let's not forget Old Spice. Thank you, Smallville.
Levi's, because Levi's are the only jeans that anybody wears in a movie. If you ever notice, like every movie, if they have jeans on, they're Levi's. You know that Levi tag when you see it. So
and heroes and only heroes can use iPhones in a movie or TV show.
Yes.
Actually, they're kind of relaxing that rule, if you know.
Oh, really?
Well, Apple's kind of the villain of the universe at this point. If you know, you know.
I'm just saying, like, you can't have an Apple show and have an antagonist or a villain who's, you know, because everyone on an Apple produced show uses Apple products.
Clearly.
So that's kind of a, you know, like they have to have them use
although
that.
Severance, I don't know. Best show on Apple TV.
No, Ted Lasso. Even though it's done.
I was gonna say, yeah, currently airing. There you go.
Okay, because I actually have the Believe sign. I made one. Hanging in my living room because me and Ted are like this. Ted is my hero.
Yeah.
All right. So should we grade this thing?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
On a scale from Wonder Woman 2 being the worst, and Shazam, my scale of Shazam being basically the best DC movie, it falls somewhere in between. It's better than the first Aquaman movie, so I'll give it a B-. B as in boy.
All right. I want to hear.
I mean, this is just a DCEU scale, and as a regular movie, it's kind of a D as in dog minus.
D as in Tyler.
D as in Dick Grayson.
Tyler, he wears hope on his chest. What do you think?
It's in my top 5 of the DC films. I currently have it, I think, around 4. And I would give it a B. Like, I think there's a lot of good in it. There's some stuff that's questionable. There's some performance choices that are questionable, but overall, I enjoy it. So yeah, I'll rock with a B.
Yeah, I think I could agree with the B. Again,
I didn't like the music. I'll be honest. I guess it's somebody new or something. Like not somebody from our wheelhouse. It was like
you mean the
different
score?
And jarring. Yeah.
The score. Benjamin Wallfish has been with Andy. I think he did Mama, but I know he did It with Andy. And then he had done the first Shazam movie.
Oh, okay.
So I like his score, and I haven't listened to it. Like I got it to listen to, because I'm gonna listen to it pure. So I'll get back to you on that one.
Yeah, for me it was a little like muddy. I was just like, I mean, I'm so used to like all the other like staples of the DC universe, you know.
Yeah, and I don't feel like they wrote a Flash theme.
Exactly.
Like they haven't wrote something when you hear it, you're like, that's the Flash.
But unlike the TV show, which is kind of iconic, their whole soundtrack is especially season 1 soundtrack, iconic. The Scientists.
Oh yeah, Phil, what's your rating? Because I gotta go get my dogs. They're going crazy
B.
outside.
Yeah, B. Because again, good ideas, but I don't know if they were great that well executed. And again, I almost wept in the theater when I saw Keaton as Batman. I'm like, I'm 11 years old again. It's 1989.
Well, I didn't mention this real quick. Last year for Batman Day, Solomon and I did a triple feature at our local Cinemark, which was Batman 89, Batman Returns, and Mask of the Phantasm.
Oh,
Nice.
So we sat through those. So it was cool because like just last year we did Keaton Batman on the big screen, and then this year we did this. So that was cool.
What a time to be alive as a small child, I'm telling you. They're spoiled.
Yeah, totally.
Remember when we were lucky if we got one a year?
Yeah, and we all came together, and even if it was crap, we were still like, yes.
It's a superhero.
Look at you, Batman and Robin. Sorry, Tyler.
Hey, 97 was a bad year.
The toys were amazing. I'm not gonna lie, toys were amazing.
97 was a bad year for superhero movies. Steel, Spawn, and Batman and Robin. Just saying.
We lived through it.
It was
Tyler.
it was rough.
We're lucky we had anything. Yeah, luckily Blade brought it all back.
Yeah, the one that people forget was like the turning point.
Not X-Men. It was Blade.
But there are people who are like, oh yeah, at the time we're like, oh, that's a superhero movie or that's a comic book movie. It's like, yeah,
it's one of those like we're slipping under the radar. But,
exactly.
Because it's vampires, baby.
But yeah, I gotta get going, guys.
Thank you so much for joining us. It was great to have your thoughts on the movie.
Yeah, you want to throw out Krypton Report?
Yeah, check out Krypton Report. Anywhere your podcasts are. If you go back this past week, we've done different episodes every day with specials about different eras of the Flash in media, and then our review with my co-host James will be coming up soon.
Can't wait to see what James thinks.
Check it out.
James, cool.
So, you guys take care. I'll be talking with you soon.
Yes.
Right, have a good one.
Bye.
Yes, I wanted to get that hope with the hopeful review.
Yes, exactly.
And again, I wasn't ready. If there was just the two of us sitting here the whole episode, it would have felt like a giant hole.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's gonna feel like a giant hole for a little bit. For a while.
I know.
We'll go on.
But it looks like a lot of people have been confirming for the Charlie Ezra episode. I mean, I think Tyler did, Moz did, Justin. So, yeah, Rob was, but I think Rob's going to be at a conference.
He could just send in something.
That's what he said. He said he might record something. So
cool. Looking forward to that episode.
Yes. So yeah, kids. I don't. Capes and Lunatics going forward is. It's not gonna be the same without him.
No, like it's still hitting me like a ton of bricks.
Especially
honestly.
this show. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, send us your thoughts on all the Flash stuff. I mean, I'm sure we'll have an interview or something before then, but the next movie review will probably be Blue Beetle, probably in August.
Wow, really? Okay.
That's the next superhero thing, unless you.
Yeah, these are starting to feel more and more spaced out. Not that I'm complaining. It's actually a relief for me. Like I am on the superhero fatigue burnout train for sure.
Because I don't think there's many left this year. It's like Blue Beetle in August. The Marvels is in November, and isn't Aquaman like December?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
So it's getting spaced out a little more. Like I said, I mean, we'll have some interviews and specials. So. But yes, next week, the last episode of Super Connectivity, where we talk all things Charlie Esser. All right. So send us all the thoughts. Email us, CapesandLunatics@gmail.com, or call the voicemail, 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES. And remember, you can find all things Capes and Lunatics, episodes, social media, merchandise, the Patreon. Please subscribe to our Patreon, and yes, you will get the most current episode, Lilith Hellfire's very drunken review of Heroes Reborn Avengers. Oh, I told all the boys that's up, and there, Justin was like, "Oh, I can't wait to watch that," and Ray was all excited this morning.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I did see that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're all
Oh, I'm putting the link in our private chat for
Okay.
the GoFundMe.
Okay. Okay, cool. Thank you, ma'am. Yes. So yes, kids, check the show notes. Like I said, it's going to be in all the show notes going forward here. Yes, help support Charlie Esser's family in their time of need. He has provided you years of entertainment. The least you can do is
He even showed you his fully frosted knockers, people.
Yes, exactly. Yes, the man was not afraid to show nudity. Yes, and his big brain. So yes, so please, yes, go to the GoFundMe and please. All right, Lilith Hellfire. What is it? Facebook, Grandma?
Yeah, if you guys want to hang out with me on social media, I am officially in my granny era. So friend me on Facebook for pictures of my dogs and possibly maybe getting a new pack member. We don't know yet. We're
God!
fingers crossed. And other fun shenanigans. Yep, just Lilith Hellfire.
Okay.
Either do the 6 or do the 9. Oh, you don't want to know the things I've done.
Yeah. Oh, it's a Flash episode.
You get a vibrating hand, and you get a vibrating hand.
And somebody did indeed get a vibrating hand in this movie.
Whoa, what?
They did. One of the soldiers got a
Oh,
vibrating hand.
yeah. That's right. I was gonna say, man, we didn't even tease us with an Eobard vibrating hand or nothing. All right. All right,
You
kids.
don't have the ampersand anymore.
I know.
So...
We're gonna have to rethink this. Man, I wish I had a clean recording of his ampersand.
I'm sure we can scroll back.
Everyone I have has music over it, Lil. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, send it to me. I'll clean it up.
Okay. All right, kids. Thank you for joining us again for another week. We have been your Capes. Let's do it together.
And...
ampersand.
Nope. And Lunatics. I don't even want to do the ampersand.
Okay. I was gonna say you do it together, but yes, and Lunatics. Yes.
We'll get it back together eventually, guys.
But yeah, I felt the same way you did. I was like, oh god, can we do the Flash this? But you know what? That Charlie Esser was a showman. He would want the show to go on. He would not.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
If you could put in the show notes in loving memory of, that would be
great
too.
This episode dedicated to Charlie Esser. Oh, I missed he would have defended this movie. He would have.
Yeah, that's why it was nice. And I've also buried the hatchet with Brian Cronin.
Yes.
On behalf of him. So.
Excelsior.